All right, I think I'm live now. Woohoo! Took a second. It was like a delayed reaction here. So welcome to Vlog Thursday 173, Network Insecurity, IoT, new servers, and some business stuff. But first, let's talk about this. Oh, no, it's not whiskey. That's another channel you're thinking of that does some crafty computer stuff and talks about beer. That's not me. We're going to talk about something like colon cleanser. That's more my style. This is actually, I didn't want to bring the open bottle over here because I lack any bread to put this on. And as someone who also does not like the sound of things going crunch, I won't chew. I have some potato chips I could put it on, I guess. But this is, yeah, I don't want to make a bunch of noise and I don't have any bread. So I'll talk about hot sauce, like I said I'd talk about, because it seems like everyone misses the first few minutes, but a lot of people, there's a niche of you that even cares at all about hot sauce. So this is Professor Fardaparn, I'm not even going to say that word, colon cleanser, new and improved all natural. This is a elixir of capsaicin extremis hot sauce. And this is actually a really good, flavorful mustard. I have another one maybe I'll talk about next time that I like. It's a Reaper pepper mustard, but I usually cut it with some of this because it's so hot it's hard to eat on its own. But of course, Reaper peppers are pretty hot. So, but this is, mustard is really good. And I ate myself, not sick, that wouldn't be the right word. I ate my tongue raw on it the other day because I kept eating mustard. I get a craving for mustard. Next thing you know, I've consumed quite a bit of mustard. So also I'll cut even this with a little bit of, whatever yellow mustard of choice, whatever bulk amount of it we may have. And we generally have large bulk amounts of mustard because all of us seem to really have a thing for mustard here. So that's no sponsorship or anything, just a mention. Oh, we'll set it up here. So it's our colon cleanser on top of some UniFi stuff. We'll get to this stuff later. We're going to talk about some of the other things first. Oh, what do we got here? Lots of people. Someone in sales. All right. Sales is okay. I got a salesperson. Yeah. No one needs a GPU for PF Sense. Probably not. I can't think of a good reason for that. So say we all. Yes, I'm a big fan of that show. Oh, 10 gig. Yes, 10 gig. We'll get to the 10 gig stuff later. Hot sauce, then bite inch and apple? Definitely. I did that today already. That's part of today. Do you have any Grey Poupon? Yeah. A good stone ground mustard is just pleasant. And, Grey Poupon's good, but there's definitely stone ground mustard in general I'm really happy with. A good, like that brown mustard with the kind of grittiness to it. That stuff's just so good. Toledo. We got someone from Ohio. Awesome. Do you reuse SSH keys? I have my own private keys that do move from computer. Well, they're only ever located in two places. So not exactly, kind of, sort of. I mean, you don't need, every time I replace a computer, I don't regenerate private keys because that would be a problem because I use my private, you keep your private keys, like for their namesake, very private. I am going to do, because there's so much confusion around SSH, there's a lot of good sites on it, but I'm going to break down some SSH stuff, why you should be using the latest encryption for keys on SSH, and just some cool tools for SSH management. So I'll lightly touch on key generation, and then I'll talk about even some clever things you can do with SSH. And I'm going to tell all of you, go read Michael Lucas's book on SSH. So if you really want the top to bottom, as they refer, what was that phrase? Soup to nuts, cradle to grave, however, whatever euphemism you want to insert there, the entirety of SSH is Michael Lucas's book is really good on that. It's a deep dive into that particular topic. So, someone from the UP? All kinds of people here. Hot sauce pass through XCP-ng. No, it does not, but it does. If you eat enough of it, it will pass through you quite quickly, very fast. So, lightly touch on EC25519. Yeah, let's lightly touch on that. That's a good. So, Here we go. Yes, this is the curve you should be using. In cryptography, curve 25519 is an elliptic curve offering 120 baits of security designed for use with the elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman ECDH key exchange agreement. It is one of the fastest ECC curves and is not covered by any known patents. So the original curve is paper defined, and then we get into a lot of mathematics. It's fascinating, but yes, you should be using this. This is good. Also, unless you absolutely have to, and in only rare circumstances, you want to keep SSH exposure minimal. If you are using it, use this encryption. And once again, you should never have password authentication turned on for SSH. SSH should only be done with keyed authentication. So I'll do a video on that pretty soon about SSH hardening and how you should handle your keys and where you should put those keys and public key encryption in general. There's always this constant confusion around it. Thank you, William Daughtery. It is much appreciated getting donations. So that's, we do make money on this channel, but it takes time, lots and lots of time to do this. So it is always greatly appreciated when that time is compensated. I like training people and everything else, but I've taken time away from my business to do a lot of these videos. But I know there's some business relationship here with it, but it is still greatly appreciated. I'm thankful for any of you that donate in any ways to my channel. Yeah, I want to talk about OpenSense? No, I'd rather just eat Reaper peppers raw before I'll talk about OpenSense. I don't have a use case for that. By the way, I need to make a shirt that says that. That way you guys can all have I don't have a use case for that shirt. And we'll even work on what the rules for the I don't have a use case for that drinking game is. So this is an L480. I have a review on it. Matter of fact, if you search my channel for ThinkPad, you'll find 2 ThinkPad reviews. My old one and my current one. I don't think I've reviewed any other ones on my channel. Ever have a UniFi switch get stuck updating Gen 2? Not a Gen 2 switch, but that being said, I do have a video on how to SSH into a switch or device by UniFi, really. So it'll apply to more than just the access points that I did it on. But yeah, there's manual ways you can update it. It's rare. Have I seen it happen? Yes. Does it ever happen with systems we set up? No. Has it happened with us troubleshooting other people's systems? A lot. And that being said, a lot is people break things in very interesting ways. That seems to be some of our consulting. Yesterday, and even today, I was rather preoccupied. What I do is, my techs do a lot of the work, but occasionally they get stuck because people break things in such unusual and unexpected ways. So yesterday I was really busy doing unraveling mysteries, we'll just say that. And then today was unraveling another mystery, and we're setting up some proxies and stuff for our client, and it's just, yeah, mystery after mystery of what did you do again? Wait a minute. So that happens a lot. It's just like some people had a different idea of how the technology worked, and I think that's very interesting because I may say things from a very straight through manner, and they didn't, and I always look for, it's not any way to poke fun at all, but it's also it's an interesting dive into what made them think to use it this way, and is it a better way to use it? And sometimes I misunderstand things. That's why I like some of the discussions in the forums where that can be broken down better towards use cases that maybe I don't understand. Because I approach things from the start that I don't understand it. I may be misunderstanding you. I don't start with, that's a terrible idea. Well, occasionally it's a terrible idea, but a lot of times it's just I start with, I don't understand what you're trying to do, or I'm not understanding the question. Because I always assume I'm the one misunderstanding first. That's the better position, in my opinion, to start from and work our way towards whatever the goal is. James Stewart, thank you for the $5 donation. And this is just a thank you for the valuable content. Oh, I much appreciate that, James. Billsboro. So James Stewart, Billsboro, thank you very much. Yeah, watch any vlog Thursday. I'm going to make eventually a video that'll be a reply video about OpenSense and, that. I will bring this up because this comes up almost all the time too. Actually, now my son's asking when I'm going to be home, so let me tell him real quick. So this is me texting back my son after my live stream. And then he'll watch my live stream, so he'll actually know exactly what the status of my live stream is. But anyways. So close that. There was some news in here you guys are going to find interesting. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Wow, there's a lot of news since that news. I should have tweeted it and I could just pull it up from Twitter. I should do that more often. Matter of fact, we can probably do this. We'll switch this so you can see what it is I'm doing. December, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, it's already buried over here. WireGuard ported to the OpenBSD kernel looking for upstream inclusion. And this is actually pretty cool. A lot of people have been asking me about WireGuard. And I do like the fact that it's getting more attention and things like that. But I'll swing it all the way back. The corporate world isn't getting WireGuard tomorrow. Your firewall may or may not be getting WireGuard soon. Now, I bring that up, and someone's going to, this is the use case, and this is related to why people bring up OpenSense, is I think OpenSense has the WireGuard in there. But it still hasn't been fully vetted, tested, and until it gets a lot of vetting and testing, unless you're looking for the ultimate speed, it's not particularly interesting. And that, you know what I mean? To me, VPNs are security first, speed second. I don't ever get that turned around. Now, where I know some people go, well, what about my favorite private, internet provider or hiding things from my internet provider using a VPN? Okay, maybe you want to use WireGuard. But you're sacrificing a lesser audited protocol, granted less code, so it's going to be easier to audit, a lesser audited protocol to protect your privacy so you can get speed. Now, that's probably fine because the worst case scenario is your ISP gets to listen in on sell your data if they take the time to try and decode and find a flaw in it, which is pretty statistically unlikely, I'll give you that. But when it comes to what I use internally, OpenVPN is my go-to because I care deeply about the security of the things I'm doing and related to clients, and I have remote workers VPN'd in who are working on client things. That's why we have it all behind VPN. So it's not like, even though I'm excited that I see it getting in the BSD kernel, it's not like I'm going to switch to it even if it was completely available tomorrow. It's a little bit slower go than that. But the first step is availability, then comes all the vetting, the testing, the poking at it, the security auditing, and eventually working our way towards it being adopted, and it'll be nice. So, Grayson, do you think UB&T will come up with second-gen edge switches with 48-port SFP plus ports? I don't know. Probably. Thank you for the $5 donation, and that's a probably. I don't know what they're going to do. So their UniFi line has these with the SFP plus. They're pretty cool. I got one installed over here. I do like them. I don't know if the Edge series will or not. It's a maybe. One of the things I may buy, I've been debating about it because I know it'd be popular for a review, but I only would get it because it runs Switch OS. And Serve the Home really did a good review of it. I don't really have a direct use case for it here, but I gotta admit, MikroTik has some really affordable switches that offer several SFPs. Now, we have that little MikroTik switch. Let me grab it real quick to show everyone. This one here. And I really like this particular switch. So this one is wonderful and definitely supports the 10 gig. And they have one, this one's like $129. And they have one for a little bit more that has a couple 10 gigs and several 24 ports on there. And it's like a very affordable switch. And the problem with MikroTik is the same debate that comes up every time someone brings up MikroTik. Or I like when someone messaged me, well, it's just Latvian logic, but I've learned it and etc. I don't like things that are built illogically or confusing and hard to use. So the advantage you have with MikroTik is they have an inexpensive device that if you take the time to really learn Router OS, you can get good at it. It does have a lot of features, but it's kind of confusing and it's weird. It's just not that great as far as I'm concerned. But if you want to save money, but you have time on your hands, awesome. Go read through all their documentation and figure out how it works. Secondary option, run Switch OS. Pretty intuitive. And if you're just using it for switching functions and VLANs, works pretty easy for that. I covered that when I did the review, how easy it is to do in Switch OS. I thought about doing a specific video on Switch OS because Switch OS looks the same as a lot of other basic switch systems and is pretty usable for just getting VLANs and things like that set up, which is probably all you need. And for the back-end uses that you may have for MikroTik, they work for that. So set it up in Switch OS. Away you go. You got a pretty simple system that will get the job done for switching, and it's inexpensive. Now back to the edge switch question. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try to compete at the same level as MikroTik. That seems kind of hard to do. There's not been, MikroTik's had this one out for a while and other ones, and I would say in some ways the Edge series does compete a little bit with MikroTik. Now, where UniFi has the advantage is the monitoring platform that you get with it. But the one for the Edge switch is kind of, the UNMS system. The UniFi system, though, on the other hand, is really good. So I think we're still going to see more development on the UniFi platform. That platform is just doing great. We sell, and it's not just we sell. We talk to the upstream vendors when we do these bulk purchases. They said UniFi has like baffled them for just the volumes of quantity that it sells, and I think they're going to keep continuing to do that. Long answer, but maybe that helps. Oh. Wow, catching up. So, as I said earlier, I prefer the flexibility. I decided to switch to different access points to get rid of UniFi controller. Yeah, I mean, it all depends if you want that single platform, that single plane. That's the advantage that UniFi has. Most people want everything in some type of single management plane, but if you don't, then you don't. Steve, is my water in my office?
I'll grab it.
Okay, thank you. But lock the door after that, so thanks. My staff's leaving. They've had enough of them today.
One more?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Lemon?
No, I'm good. No more lemon.
There's a little bit in there. You want me to dump it?
Nope, that's fine.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Ice?
Nope.
Okay.
Let's see. Sentinel-1 EDR is SolarWinds has picked up for the next-gen antivirus. Are you getting annoyed by traditional AV failing and actually protect people yet? I don't know. I'm not. So I don't think any of them are great. They're better than nothing. That's my feelings is not of amazing positiveness. Thank you, sir. When it comes to any of the EDR stuff, that's a whole different topic and a different day. Jason Noble, thank you for the $5 donation. UniFi G3, Ethernet switch, U-switch, CKYY, non-UniFi network. Is there a device that will connect wired to Wi-Fi? Yeah, I think you can. I think you can tell those to bridge back. So usually you're just going to use a point-to-point, but are you talking about like you just want to take regular Wi-Fi and bridge it back? Point-to-points are the best way to go. If you have 2 points that are you can't physically run a wire to, or the distance exceeds what you can run a wire to, point-to-points are a solution that works really, really well. So the I would probably go with, and I've done a couple of reviews of them, but like the M5s are nice, and they make a nice product. We've got some of those. I should probably do a follow-up. We've got some that have been installed for like 3 years that are just chooching right away, working great, no problems, and they provide internet across the Detroit River here. It's hard to believe. I was looking at them, that video's from 3 years ago, so I got to do an updated video on it, and it'd be kind of fun to do because some things have changed around there, so I could do a new flyover and show what all looks different. It's an excuse to use my drone, really. I need more excuses to use my drone. UniFi needs hot swap power supplies or power supplies that don't fail. Well, that's a theory. Hey, guess what UniFi has? Guess what this goes to? This is a UniFi, and I'm going to be doing a review of this. This is actually is the same number of pins as an ATX, by the way. So here, we'll get this close to the camera, see if it'll focus. Focus. Maybe not. It's trying. Anyways, there we go, kind of, but it's not. Oh, I don't care. This is the power plug that goes to this. And this thing is a redundant power supply for UniFi switches. So you plug this in, and then I'll do a video on this soon, and it feeds the power to the other switches in case they fail. So kind of interesting. UniFi sent me this, and it's just an interesting product. I'm curious about it, so I'm curious because I'm going to open it up and take it apart and play with it. These videos aren't coming out until next week because I have a couple other things that have to be finished. Project-wise, I've been swamped, but I have a couple other things got to be finished before that. But that's what this is, and I just love this cable. It's just so, it's a beefy cable. It's really heavy, so definitely pretty neat. Whoops. I'm flinging stuff over here. I got to make sure I don't lose all the parts to it. That way I can at least say, this is all the stuff that came in the box before I promptly misplace all the things that kept it in the box. Because I do that. I mean, I'm not a... I mean, I'll keep packaging of things I'm going to resell, but this isn't going to be for resale. That means I won't keep the packaging. So that video is coming. This is, and it's all monitored, ties into the UniFi dashboard. Oh, let's see. I have no interest in the TP-Link stuff. It's inexpensive, but it's not. It doesn't seem to have the cost savings over UniFi, not substantially. So I think UniFi just seems to make a better system. I've reached out to see if I can find some systems that are similar to UniFi because people said, "Well, do the wireless test." The last time I've done that, one of the things I found really interesting was just we tried a couple of them. Like we just went over a friend's house, nothing real official, wandered around with our phones, and I was actually surprised at a couple different ones we had at the time when we were testing how similar in range they were. It was like a 5 or 10 foot difference in range, maybe. So, I mean, UniFi seems to work pretty solid, but the other ones have become better. Now, this is going to vary wildly with what you have, and we were comparing it to the what's that really expensive one that's got the stupid octopus-looking things? He had like it was a home router I was comparing it to. I was just surprised how good. I think is it the Nighthawk? I don't know. It's expensive and looks weird. It was reasonably comparable with the UniFi Nano that we had, and I thought that was kind of interesting, but the UniFi Nano is substantially less expensive than one of those. But, of course, the Nighthawk, I'm talking about something that's got everything integrated with it for home consumers. Oh, let's see. Catching up here. Synology. Yes, I like Synology stuff. I'm going to be doing some more Synology videos, so that's definitely... So do me and Chris get gear at the same time? Randomly. So the same, we have the same contact, and I don't think, well, probably everybody does. There's a individual who seems to be in charge of sending out review stuff. That particular individual talks to me and Chris, and a super nice person. They're very pleasant, and they send us things, usually because what they want reviewed for things that come out, they'll just pop them out. So, coincident. It's not really as much coincidental. It's kind of like when they want to get a review or move a particular product, they mail it to people they want it to review. So you see those reviews hit roughly the same time, depending on the lead time for people to get reviews done. Any pros or cons to passing through my NIC to XCPNG? So here's the thing about pass-through, and it's an awesome yay for science type thing. It's not something you see much in the enterprise market, with exceptions. There's always a one-offs. I know there's always going to be some one-off, but I have this guy who had this thing, and he had to have this medical imaging device with this special proprietary card, and he had to pass it through. So yes, I've seen it used in an enterprise use case. Yes. But most of the time when you're talking about passing through a network card, there's not really, I mean, you can do it. It's just kind of tedious. You got to go through. There's a process on how to pass through a PCI device into XCPNG, and you follow that process, and then you assign that pass-through device to there. It's not through the UI. It's not likely to become into the UI. Now, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Proxmox lends itself to some levels of UI interaction that allow you to pass through devices, which is cool. It's just not something that I think the people that write XCPNG, I could be wrong, but I don't think they have a lot of focus on it because it's an enthusiast thing. It's not something that the enterprise market's asking for. Now, what is supported in XCPNG natively is SRIOV. And when you buy enterprise equipment that has SRIOV options, you're talking about the ability to not just kind of pass through, but like virtualize the network interface and pass it through. So that's how the corporate world does it. Same thing when it comes to graphics cards. You look at some of the NVIDIA Teslas, there's a long list of them that are on the Zen server HCL list. And once again, it's an it's a function of passing them through. It's not the same as just passing a random video card through. So I think Linus is the reason a lot of people did this. And I have no problem with the for science type things. Like someone was on my forums really asking, like, I really want to pass through my video gaming card so I can run my Windows server inside of XCP-ng while also running all the other things on there. Fun experiment, I guess. But that's kind of what it comes back to being, is a fun experiment that is possibly more buggy than just natively running Windows on direct hardware. I get there's some advantages to running it on, a virtualized system, but there's also the challenges that come with setting it up this way. It's more of a for science and not something in production type thing. So it's kind of limited. I just don't use it enough to become an expert at it. And as much as I love the for science aspect, I have so many other things going on. I don't have this boredom going, let me build a gaming rig similar to what Linus did. I think he used Unraid, and pass through all this hardware and see if we can have multiple people playing games on a single server. It's a fun project, but I don't have the time for it at the moment. Oh, man. Which server do you install XCPG for small business? Also, how to use budget-wise? I don't understand as a question. I just install XCP-ng, and it's not like every company gets it, that's for sure. Yeah, it sounds like if you with Proxmox, if pass-through is your game, Proxmox seems like is there. I think Unraid has pass-through that's a little bit easier to do as well. So. Well, yeah, pass-through isn't used in enterprise because you're not clustering servers together at that point. Because especially, when you're passing through something, you have to list LSPCI, find the PCI device, tag that device and do it. Well, now you're not going to pass that server over to another server because, well, you can't. The device is locked into that. So, yeah. We use free PBX. I just don't have the time to try out all the random PBXs. I'm sure there's plenty of great ones out there. Free PBX works wonderful. It's what we use. I'm familiar with it. I'm aware that other PBXs exist. I simply don't have the time to use them. Same with 3CX. I don't use it, so I don't know. I'm sure it's been around a long time. I'm sure it's a fine PBX system. If it makes you happy, then use it, but I have no opinion on it. People use it. It seems to work. You can buy support contracts. You have to buy licenses for it. I know it's not free. Free PBX, it's free. It's open source. I like it. So that's what I think of 3CX. I don't have an opinion on it. Yeah, 8 gamers, 1 PC. I think ever since Linus did that video, that just has everyone excited to try it too. 3CX is good for small business, according to Mike, because it's got free features update. Cool. If it works for you, we do install free PBX for a lot of clients. We've been really happy with it. Now, my reasoning for it that comes up, especially when I talked to like Chris from Crosstalk Solutions. Why is he so? And we contract him to help set up free PBX things. One of the reasons he's so bullish on free PBX is these absolute amazing levels of flexibility in terms of doing all kinds of fun stuff. And even we have conference rooms set up, all kinds of things set up inside of there that are just so easy to use. We are using the Zulu system. That's how we talk to it. That's how we get our calls when we're local on our desktops. There's a lot of features. I'm going to be doing an updated review because we've been using free PBX for a couple of years now, and I'm just really happy with it. It just works. And I'm going to also do a video on using free PBX when you host it internally and VoIP services to use. We've had clients we've been moving to a while. It's just a timing thing to get us ported over. I moved everything over to VoIP.ms, and we have an affiliate offer if you want to sign up for VoIP.ms, but I'm going to be doing a video really soon about VoIP.ms as well. So. Yeah, well, Isabel PBX is open source. That's cool. Does it have every bell and whistle of free PBX? And if it does, what would compel me to use it over free PBX, which is also free and open source? Because that's some of the problems. I've seen people fork things for the sake of forking them so they can have their name on it. But if you didn't offer a compelling feature and a support plan, this is a problem with I guess you can call it fragmentation in the Linux world, is when one person goes, I really want Linux to look this way, so I'm going to go spin my own version of Linux, and I'm going to do things my way. And then that particular person, I don't know, leaves their WordPress site not properly secured, gets owned, and people start downloading stuff with backdoors in it because the project wasn't well secured and well maintained, and it turned into just a giant mess on the back end. If you know who I'm talking about, if you know the history of Linux distros, you'll know which one I'm talking about. And I'm picky about some of that stuff, especially if it runs a business. And FreePBX combined with Sangoma, and actually the folks Chris has talked about, Clearly IP, it's good based. It's got a really, really long track record of being a solid project. So. Any suggestion for HTTP proxy plus SSL other than Squid? No, Squid is pretty much the go-to. Everybody uses Squid, and everybody hates HTTP proxies. So do I. FreePBX uses Asterisk. Do I still use Zoiper? Not as much. I started using the Zulu thing, and I like it a lot. So I've been using Zulu, not Zoiper. It's pretty neat. But Zoiper's still on the phone. Zoiper's still a good phone app. Hey, the HA proxy, you got it working. I love hearing that. Asterisk. Yeah, I don't know if I'm saying it wrong. Probably. I say a lot of things wrong. I'm just not on purpose. I just don't think about enunciation of words a lot. So, back to the IoT thing, because this is exhausting. Where did I put this? I know I posted this the other day. This, all the time this. Flat networks insecure. Create VLANs as separate networks. No devices can talk to each other. Yes. I made this meme because this is something that drives me crazy, and it started with another forum post, and the millionth forum post or phone call or contracting that people do. I do know at least 2 or 3 more people contacted us. They want to, one person had 30 VLANs on their list that they wanted to create. They wanted like every device to have its own VLAN, and then they wanted to create rules to get each device to talk to each other in a very specific way. And I'm like, good luck, man. I mean, we can do it. Here's our billable rate. There's a point of no return where just putting everything in its own VLAN, especially people, this is the perfect argument. People who go, well, I think my phone should be in a separate one for my Chromecast, because what if those terrible people at Google, who also made your phone, and then also update or hack my Chromecast, can't they laterally move and hack my phone? I need them on separate networks, but I need them to talk to each other because I want to watch my YouTube and Chromecast, or insert iPhone or whatever device you're using. And I don't understand why people think those devices need to be on separate. I did a video about this, and I've sent it to those people, and they still insist on it. But the problem you run into is when you start separating these devices, especially consumer devices, especially consumer printers. People are so scared of their printers, their consumer ones, they want them on a separate network from their computer, and then they keep breaking and they don't talk to each other. I'm like, yes, welcome to printers. Expect corporate ones are different, but at least the consumer grade printers pretty much universally seem to expect the network to be on the same. There are exceptions, and someone will point out that some model they have does work. Yes, the model you have may work, but certainly not all models. And many of the models, that's why we get calls on. And no, I don't have an exhaustive list, because that is not information that is always necessarily shared by these companies. You don't need to split everything out as your home user into 30 different networks. Let's just say that. That is, it's just a myth. You don't need 30 networks. You do need to think if there's something that may have a problem, you want to prevent lateral movement, but that doesn't mean every single device is a scary device that will potentially do this. I can't emphasize that enough of how many of the silly phone calls we get is just that. So, yes, there's no S in IoT because the S stands for security. Yeah, Council. Whatever. I'll call it whatever I want. Hi, Tom. Wanted to add to the warm beer conversation from last week. We Brits don't drink warm beer, contrary to stereotypes. Fair enough. Something cool. So thank you very much for the donation and the beer talk from Mr. Necrotex. But something I think is really cool that we don't have quite the same here that I thought was neat. And I think it was a video called An Honest Pint. Some short little YouTube video, but I thought this was kind of cool. And any of you that are over in England, tell me if I'm wrong about this, because I could be completely wrong. Not my field of expertise. But an honest pint is the fact that there are regulations on the glasses. So when they pour a pint, it's honestly a pint. And I thought that was kind of interesting because there are, they just ask you if you want a tall or short, but that is tall or short. There's not like a defined, universal, always guaranteed you're going to get the right amount of beer when you order a beer. So that's that's one of those interesting things I thought was kind of neat. I'm not an expert on that. I'm not much of a beer person. I like beer, but I don't drink much. I'm actually a very lightweight drinker. So, but cool that good to know you don't drink it warm, because I guess I could drink some beers warm. I feel as though they're better cold. They don't have to be like super cold, but I do like cold beer. Which phone do I use, and do I have a custom ROM? No one a custom ROM. This is a Pixel 4. You know what I really like about this? I reviewed this phone. I don't remember. I think I reviewed it. I gotta look. I at least did one review because I use Google Fi, and I'm gonna comment on how much I love. This is a fabric case. That's fabric. I like this case a lot. I love the phone. The phone's great, so no problems with it. Now, custom ROMs. No. The reason I don't do custom ROMs is security. Google's pretty solid for the most part on their security. Privacy, security, two different things. You can argue about Google privacy, you'd probably be right. But security, they're pretty solid on. And they care a lot about it. So if you run custom ROMs, or drop my case here, or you're rooting your phone, you can run into some trouble. And this is also very washable. That's why I took it off. It reminds me, I was looking at how dirty it is. I'm like, it might be time to wash that. Anyways, you may consider when you are doing that, if you want to root your phone, other devices, other things may get root access to it, and that would allow that inside your phone. Same problem you can create on your network, where you can have lateral movement. The non-rooted phones, they do a lot to segment and keep applications from trying to talk to each other. For example, I have my rolling two-factor numbers on here. If you were to root this phone and something else were able to go, hey, I can suddenly use the escalated privileges on this phone to laterally move over and acquire two-factor tokens or something like that. So keeping those type of risks away are why I don't root the phone. And because Google keeps regular updates on this for security, we're going to say that I just don't really use custom ROMs. Now, one day for my security phone, will I be looking at something like the Pine phone or a Linux phone? I hope so. Right now for my business, I'm pretty tied to all the apps I use on here. But for my personal, I thought about just having a second personal one. So when I'm not doing business stuff, I don't have to worry about it. So, but I don't, business and personal are very different for me. And just people complain about, oh, you're using Chrome. I'm like, Chrome for personal. Chrome for business, and Firefox for personal. That's one of my ways I keep a clear separation between the two different versions of me. I have zero interest in Arch Linux. I noticed the Arch Linux have all discovered my channel and started commenting, you should use Arch. And you guys are turning into every meme of, you should use Arch. And so, which is funny. I just don't have a use case for Arch. So, nothing. I have a long been 15 plus years, maybe longer, a Debian user. I started out in Red Hat, went over to Debian. I still keep some CentOS knowledge in my head because FreePBX and XCP&G are CentOS, but they're still Linux, and they're either one of them are interchangeable for me for ease of use for the most part. But I have no interest in learning Arch. There's not any compelling reason for me to use it. Pop! OS is great because I can get all my work done, and I don't have time to play with Linux. I'm using Linux to run my business, so I don't have time to play with, oh, look, broke, and yeah, computer arch. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, if you want to use it, cool. They got cool documentation, but things break with updates. Rolling distros have challenges, and whatever. So, I don't have time for things to break. There is zero thought given when I do an update on my laptop or my desktop with Pop! OS. I just update it. And I'm never going, oh man, I hope it doesn't break my day. I have a lot of work to do. I have customers to support. I have videos to create and network engineering stuff I'm working on. Linux is my go-to. Pop! OS is my go-to. It's one of the reasons I had to get away from Parrot. They kind of moved to it's been a while since I reviewed Parrot. I just got to the point of aggravation with it because they kept having more drama. And I actually reached out to one of the developers. I talked to them, and I'm like, look, guys, you're trying to be on the bleeding edge is kind of maybe away from your product because it's starting to break things. I have work to do, not waiting on breaking things. I haven't seen if it's stabilized lately, but it was a challenge running on my laptop because occasionally, if I have to spend time flipping through and fixing a kernel, that's taken away time that I have doing other things that are, more important, or making a network engineering video when you're going, well, the kernel decided it doesn't like the Wi-Fi driver, so hold on, let me get a cord on here. Okay, let me find out what the problem is. Okay, let me figure out how to change the driver around and make it work again. So that's one of the reasons I don't just jump on every new version of Linux that comes out there. There's people who love distro hopping. It's like a hobby for them. Awesome. Go have at it. It's a fun hobby, I guess. It's not for me. So there's people who collect stamps that think that's fun. That's not my hobby. I'm not comparing Linux distro hoppers to stamp collectors. I'm just saying do the hobby that makes you happy. And distro hopping is not the one that makes me happy. Oh, the Palm phone. I had one of those. Those are great. So, anyways. Back to stuff I have. So I want to talk about that. Stuff. The viewport. Actually, is it going to come out? Maybe. Let's just slower than... and the reveal... just the wrapper. and some accessories. Oh, it's got, what the hell is this? I don't think that, I don't know what that is. Anyways, that's interesting. I'll have to figure out where that goes. But the thing that this belongs to is this. I don't know, I have to dig into the packaging here. Anyways, this is a pretty cool device, and you're already seeing it right now. This is kind of funny. Look at this. I didn't even notice this in there. It's like a pack of gum. Duh, we got a little baby version of it inside of here. Damn it. There we go. Going back in there. And you're probably wondering, what is this tubular thing that Tom has? And let's log into it. Let's play with it real quick. It is the new UniFi. Where does it even show up? Hold on a second here. Because I don't know the answer to this question yet. Oh, there it is. Yes. We'll share my screen now. So this is the UniFi, it's called the UFP viewport, and we named it Magic Video Tube. And it is actually what's controlling what's on the screen behind me. So I'm going to do a review of this. This is actually a pretty neat device. I'll back over to it. So we can see our cameras. And here we can live view. Hey, look, there's my Tesla right there. But so far, we have actually found that it works quite well. What's on my front counter? Oh, boxes. And it's the Tesla cam. That's usually where my Tesla's parked out back charging. I've had a rainy day here in Michigan. But anyways, the Magic View... go back to cameras. Magic Video Tube is pretty cool. So right now it's running, and behind me it just displays what's back there. We're still figuring it out. Kyle hooked it up yesterday, and it seems to work. So he's been playing with it, and me and him will discuss it next week, and then I'll do a video on it. But I think it's a neat device for the Protect, and I'm going to do an overall updated video on Protect. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I've been using it so I can give you a more subjective view of my thoughts on it. I don't feel as though Protect is really the... I I don't feel as Protect is really going to be the best system for a corporate user, but for small uses, a handful of cameras, I think it's pretty solid. We've been impressed with all the updates have gone well on it, and now they got this new feature for this, so that's pretty cool too. So, next business laptop will be System 76. System 76 is the company I want to love on that. I'll jump back to that in a second. But my thoughts on UniFi Protect is I still like it as a system. We've been using it for a little while. It still has its shortcomings, so I'm not going to let them go on the shortcomings. I still like the previous UniFi video platform better, but unfortunately UniFi dropped it. But in terms of Protect, it's still, for a home user setup, I think it's a pretty good system. It still has one of the better interfaces I've seen, and where most of these companies are moving towards, recurring revenue, so everything's a service that you got to pay for to keep the cameras running, etc. UniFi making themselves different by not doing that, pretty good. Something I still think is pretty happy about that. So this is a cool add-on to it, and it's hooked up to TVs. So System 76, I did a review, I think, of one of their laptops, not on their desktops, but one of the laptops. I do like System 76. It was such a hard, and I feel bad for even saying this, because I really wanted to buy a System 76, and maybe I will next time. I'll just have to bite the bullet and spend the money. My problem I ran into with System 76, I didn't have the confidence in the keyboard that it's as good as what Lenovo has. It's good, don't get me wrong, I like the keyboard, but Lenovo keyboards, they're nice. Lenovo offers, this laptop has a 3-year next business day warranty. This laptop has that great keyboard on there. This laptop runs Linux, wonderful. This laptop, spec for spec, was 30% less, including the warranty, than I paid for System 76. It's hard. When you pay less money and get that much more, it's just like, it's a pain. It's a pain. So I don't know, it's just, I wanted to buy a System 76, but it was really hard to justify paying more money, getting a laptop that I didn't like the keyboard as much, and I did try it, and didn't come with at the time, I don't think they offered like a 3-year next business day come on-site warranty, and so I ended up going with the Lenovo. Is the chat still working? I noticed all of a sudden the numbers just went like this. I went from 200 people to 166 really quickly. So, weird. The chat just kind of stopped. I'm going to refresh the page. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. When in doubt, reload the page. There we go. It says excellent connection, and is the live chat just broken? Did YouTube die? All right, hard to say. All right, well, moving on then. The live chat just is gone. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be working at all. I don't know why. Refresh the page one more time, see if the live chat comes back, but I have a feeling all the live chat just died. Did YouTube go down in the middle of my stream? I have no way to tell now. The chat's just missing on this page. It doesn't show up anymore. It just... So I don't know if any of you are asking any questions. I do know concurrently I'm watching all the viewers just dropped by almost half. So that's interesting. Back to a couple last things, because I guess I'll wind down the stream because I like to interact. That's the point of the live. And if I can't, there's no live chat, then I can't interact. So let's see, pop out chat. I'll try this real quick. Live chat unavailable. Wow, that looks like it went down. Well, that's terrible. Nothing I can do about that. Look, sure, anything. Yeah, nothing I can do. Just live chat's gone. Pop out chat one more time. Unavailable. Oh, well. Well, I guess we'll wind this down probably here then. I did go for 48 minutes. That's not bad for a live show. I will be talking and reviewing pretty soon the 10G 6-port 802 3BT switch. This is the new one from UniFi. I think Chris may have reviewed this already. This is a 10 gig switch from UniFi that also has PoE built in. I haven't even pulled the plastic off it, so that one's not reviewed. And I mentioned earlier, and I will be doing a review of the UniFi and the redundant power and the way this connects and the way it interacts with the other UniFi switches to create a redundancy in the power system. So those reviews are up and coming and will be available reasonably soon. Probably next week I'll get to these. I just don't have time. The one other thing I mentioned, new servers, and well, I'm not going to dive into it, and I didn't slide it out, but I have a new super micro server here. It's off right now, but we've been loading it, configuring it, setting it up, and doing some testing with it. So I'll have that review probably done tomorrow on the super micro server. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's a brand new, really nice higher end server from Super Micro, and I'm going to go over some of the features and play around with it and show some of the things running on it. Well, thank you for all that were able to chat before the chat just vanished. For those wondering what it looks like from my side, this is what I see. The chat just vanished. If I hit pop out chat, it just says live chat's unavailable. So that's all I get. So I'm trying to communicate. I can communicate here. I also watched the stream go from like 200 something people almost immediately to 148. Now, whether you're watching this live now or in post, if you could hit that like button before you leave, it's much appreciated. 34 likes to 154 people. I'm sure a couple of you can throw a couple more likes on there. But anyways, thank you for joining me. I'll be doing this next week. Comments, questions, concerns, leave them over on the forums as always. And comments down below. I do try to reply to a lot of the YouTube comments as well. So thank you for all of you that join me. And I don't know if this ending is even on here because apparently YouTube is having issues. Thanks.